So hi, welcome to a beautiful, beautiful Melbourne Victorian day. Sun shining outside. You can see it flooding through my window, and it is a fantastic day. Spring is coming, so we're looking forward to some warmer, beautiful weather. Speaking of warmer weather, good time to have a chat about this business of climate change. Not going to have a scientific discussion with you, but I do want to raise some pertinent points about God's discussion and opinion and what the Bible says about this matter, and it does. It says a lot. For a start, though, what I want to do is challenge you on where our minds are at with this process. Wouldn't it be nice if we had the same passion, zealotry, and single-minded approach as Christians as some of the people in the climate change ideology have? It would be fantastic. We should be. We should be like that. Why aren't we? And as far as God's message to us around this point, firstly, I want to draw your attention to Galatians 1:6, where it says, "Why have you deserted your faith to follow other faiths?" And some people are going to think that, yeah, we haven't deserted, but I challenge you, yes, we have, because we're looking at an ideology where we, the humans, are suddenly going to be able to do things and save the planet. It's not the purpose. We need to focus back on God's direction here and not be so attuned to necessarily following what the world wants to deem to be important. So other scriptures that I want to bring to your attention, Colossians 1:17, John 1:3, which basically say the same thing, and that this whole world was made through Christ and he holds it all together. God has the answers for what's happening in that world. And not to say that we throw stewardship out the window. That's fine. People who want to say, look, I've got to be a good steward of this world and look after it. Wonderful. Great. But we're humans. We need to realize that God has this planet under control and he has safeguards. I was reading a very fascinating story about how the oceans let off CO2. So here we are. We could do all this work to balance out CO2 in the atmosphere, and the oceans can undo what we're going to do anyway. God has systems and checkpoints in place to cover what we're doing. God has this planet in his hands, in his control. We need to be more worried about the lives on it than worrying about the CO2. Which is your priority? The souls and the lives on this planet or the CO2 level? I challenge you to meet your priority and start running with that towards a purpose of really focusing and strengthening our resolve back to be strong for God. Lots of things we could talk about on this subject. As I said, it's not supposed to be a science course in any way, shape or form, but there are a couple of things to look at. Firstly, is the information we're getting absolutely correct? And I question that. There are instances, and you can go and do your research and find it. When I find things, I will put them up. But there are instances where it has been shown that figures have been, with temperatures and things like that, have been manipulated. Okay, it's a fact. Now, if that information is coming through, it's not entirely true, how can you rely on it? Yeah, it appears the planet is getting warmer. My question to you is that a bad thing? Seriously, it's also getting greener. We're feeding plants more. We are, in fact, looking after a bit more of the earth by being a bit warmer. And the earth goes through cycles. Colder here, warmer here, and apparently has more to do with the sun than it has to do with the CO2 levels here. Antarctica, ice going, do you understand that inside the ice in Antarctica is the basis for the food source of the world? So if we need more food, then this is a great way for God to have provisioned it into the oceans as start of the food chain. Looking also at this climate change business and the people behind it, this talk of the Great Reset is no longer a secret. Go and have a look. It's all out there now. It was undercover, but now it's not, and that is in sometime in the future. There's going to be a great reset of the economy, and we, the poorer people, hello, we're not going to have much of our own. In fact, we're not going to own anything. And supposedly we're going to be real happy about that. Won't have to worry about houses, won't have to worry about money. We'll do whatever jobs that we are told to do, and we will be good little Vegemites and sheep for the ruling class. And this is where this heads to. If you think it's something about getting the planet's CO2 levels correct, think again. Go and look a bit deeper. Open your eyes, for goodness sake. Have a look. Copenhagen meetings about having climate change targets and CO2 targets, all this kind of business. Have a look at how many Learjets and private jets there are in the tarmac there. Do you really think that the billionaire and the rich class of this world are going to give up what they have just to save the planet? No. You're giving it up. And you're voting for this. How crazy is that? You're giving it up in many ways. What else is happening? Open your eyes and have a look at what is happening to the meat industry. Apparently cattle give off CO2. There's riots over in Denmark and pushback from the farmers because the powers to be and the government's starting to tell them they can't have as many cows. The beef industry is going down. Where's further evidence of that? Go down and have a look at so many of the hamburger places. They're selling meatless patties, vegetable patties. You're being trained and start to accept vegetable as meat because in the future you're not going to be able to afford it. And the people who are behind all this and saying we're going to give this up, you've got to have these targets, they've got jobs, they've got money, they're not going to be giving up the Learjets. They're going to have electric cars. They're going to be all the meat that they like. If you want to get an idea of where you're heading and what you are voting for as people, go and watch the movie Elysium about the ruling class up in the sky, the working class down below. And this is where you're taking us, and we're still in a democracy. We can do something about it. Go out there and think about what you're doing, think about what you're supporting, and instead throw that passion and that ideology and that strength behind God, and then we're all going to be better off. Love talking to you people. Take care, and let's keep growing.